The basketball community as a whole was patiently waiting on LeBron James' oldest son Bronny to make his college debut at USC this season. Due to a scare over the summer where Bronny suffered from a cardiac arrest, we just had to wait a little bit longer than we expected. But with Bronny all healed up and ready to go, we were able to see him debut in front of a sold-out crowd at the Galen Center against Long Beach State University. Still recovering, we did only get to see Bronny appear in 17 minutes in his debut, but I would still say we learned a lot about the player Bronny can be going forward, so let's get right into it. What's up guys, it's Colin from Next Man Up. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be looking at the debut of highly touted prospect and son of one of the greatest basketball players ever, LeBron James Jr., aka Bronny James, and it was a fun one. So just box score watching, I think it would be easy for social media haters to say that Bronny had a minimal impact on the game in his debut against Long Beach State. I mean, you can Google it guys. He only scored 4 points, he had 2 assists, 2 steals, a block, and the Trojans lost as a heavily favored team at home. But if you actually watch the game, you just can't deny Bronny's electric flashes throughout the whole thing. Obviously, the play that went viral was this chase down block on Long Beach State's Jaden Jones, which made some fans at home reminisce on the classic chase down blocks we've seen from LeBron throughout his entire career. And the play was great, don't get me wrong, but I am way more impressed by Bronny's athleticism and conditioning in this game as a whole. Coming off a cardiac arrest scare, as I mentioned earlier, I think generally fans were worried that Bronny would be rushed back into the game because of all the hype around him. And it was encouraging to see Bronny look like the incredible athlete we all know he is. He looks like himself. Even though it's only been one game, we only got to see minor performances from Bronny in his debut. I'm also very encouraged by the role it seems like he will be taking this year for USC. I can't lie, I was a little discouraged to see Bronny choose USC as the university he would be repping going forward. Not because I feel any sort of way about the Trojans, they are a good basketball school, but because he was basically guaranteeing him a spot on the bench with Isaiah Collier and Boogie Ellis teaming up in that same backcourt. But just like how we're seeing a guy like Rob Dillingham choose to take on a bench role and earn himself starter-like minutes coming off the pine, I think we can see something very similar with Bronny James. And with that being said, especially considering he's coming off the bench, we can admit that Bronny is no LeBron, at least not yet. So if you ask me, I think it's time to give up those player comparisons. He really doesn't play like his pops. I mean, just looking at his build, Bronny is only 6'4", which again is pretty tall, but he's really a true shooting guard. So I doubt he'll ever have a similar play style to his much more physically imposing father. But there's another NBA stud who's been coming to mind when I watch Bronny James' game. Bronny reminds me a little bit of a guy like Derek White on the Celtics. I think depending on how much you watch basketball, you might think I'm trying to diss Bronny here, but that's the exact opposite of what I'm trying to do. This is a great comparison to have coming out of college. Now, sure, Derek White has only ever averaged 15 a game at his peak, which I'm sure some LeBron fans will be sad to see Bronny max out at. But he's also one of the best defenders in recent NBA history, and let's be honest guys, he does everything you want from a player in your rotation. I mean, you can ask LeBron's teammate D'Angelo Russell who he wants to be in the NBA, and when you listen to his answer, I think you'll see the respect that a guy like Derek White has. There's other NBA players that are trying to model his game with elite athleticism, the confidence to pull up from the arc or take his spot-up shots, and early defensive flashes we've seen from Bronny. His opening debut in college continues to make me think that he could develop into a guy just as good, if not better, than Derek White. And we saw some of that in high school as well. With all that being said, I think we all have to take a step back and remember, we've only seen one game, and it was against a team like Long Beach State where I can't go without mentioning, they beat USC in overtime, a very competitive game against a team that they were supposed to beat pretty good. So with that being said, the next time we talk about Bronny, he could be a much different player throughout his time, whether that be for the better or for the worse. And with all the hype around Bronny, I think a lot of social media sites are going to push a narrative that he's the next best thing in college basketball or that he's trash. And the more realistic option is that he's just a solid guy, because that's what I expect from him, especially only as a freshman. So with all that being said, let me know what you guys think. Do you think Bronny showed you enough in just one game to make you think that he can be a superstar one day, just like his pops? Or are you a little lower on the son of the GOAT? Let me know in the comments, and subscribe or leave a like if you want. This was Colin from Next Man Up. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.